Hello, and welcome to Technolotics, episode 43, your weekly dose of sleazy, slimy news in a juicy format you can consume orally or anally.
Ooh, get the lube out.
Indeed! Okay, our first story this week concerns an update to a past story. 2 shows ago we told you how the Internet Watch Foundation, quasi-autonomous, non-governmental organisation, charity located in the United Kingdom, is being given the power to ban websites and scan email. Websites will be banned at the ISP level based on the recommendations of this organisation, who investigate claims from the public that a site contains child pornography or is criminally obscene or violates any number of other criminal laws, or is seen to potentially violate any number of other criminal laws. So this means that you will be prevented from looking at websites which are possibly illegal based on the views of an independent and unaccountable organisation. It also means that your emails will be tracked for child porn or other illegal content, because you know what? You are a criminal until you prove otherwise. And viewer? Maybe they read the show. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
A viewer of ours was so incensed by this disgraceful show of Orwellian governmental interference and intervention that he emailed his MP, who happens to be involved in Commons Committee, which is deciding this legislation, and he received a response which should be flashing on your screen now. Okay,
subliminal messages.
So as you can see, I don't know if it's readable in compressed format, but essentially the response says that we don't care. This organisation has done wonders for the protection of children and protection of individuals from obscene content, and this does not matter. The email scanning, it has been noted, and that's it. So essentially, it's a complete bump email. It's a slap on the wrist for even asking. They're there. Thanks very much. We know what we're doing. You don't. But it does go to show it did get a response, and it has been noted, and it was, to a degree at least, personally written to the respondent. So emailing or
by
writing letters,
most likely.
by a flunky, a lowly flunky. But it does work. If you contact your representatives, if enough people do, things do change. So this could potentially get changed. So contact your representatives, contact digital rights organisations, and speak to them about this, because this is very scary stuff. This is how it starts. This is how the opening of your letters. This is indiscriminate, we must remember. And indiscriminate blocking and indiscriminate scanning don't work. AI isn't advanced enough for it to find the bad stuff, and it's just so lackadaisical that human eyes must check the results. So your indiscriminately scanned email next day becomes your read email by an official in an independent body that you have not elected and is not responsible to anyone. So this is a massive, massive breach of human rights and privacy. So campaign against it, get it stopped, and hopefully we will not see this evil legislation being passed in the Commons. Alright.
Yes, and speaking of people looking at stuff they really shouldn't, our next story has to do with Digital Rights Ireland taking on the government over data retention. So the DRI has written to the Minister for Justice, Communications, and Minister for Justice, Minister for Communications, and the Garda Commissioner, and has requested that they cease breaching the constitutional, statutory, and European rights of citizens of Ireland by retaining data on them. So, what happens if they haven't replied in 7 days saying that they will do this? They're going to actually commence legal proceedings with their solicitors, McGar's solicitors. So, the background to this story is that in April 2002, Mary Harney directed the telecoms providers to start retaining data on all of their customers, pretty much everything they did, just keep it, and so that we can look at it at some later stage if we want to. So, in December 2002, the same year, just a couple of months later, the Data Protection Commissioner actually realised that essentially what Mary Harney had directed was inadequate, constitutionally invalid, and was a breach of the Data Protection Act of 1988 and 2003. So essentially what Mary Harney had directed them doing, she wasn't allowed to do, and they shouldn't have been doing it. So the thing is that telecoms traffic is explicitly protected under European law, and it's only allowed for a limited period, only when necessary, and it must be appropriate and proportionate in a democratic society. So thing is, what did the Irish government do then? They decided, okay, well, we can't have the Minister for Communications sending out this direction. So what they did was they brought in a new law that gave the Garda Commissioner this power. So rather than actually stop doing it, they decided to give the same powers to more people. So they gave the Garda Commissioner the power to actually ask telecoms providers to start retaining data on people. So, obviously, great stuff. And again, this was against European law. When Ireland was had the presidency of the European Union, they actually tried to change the European laws. So rather than change their own laws, they decided to change European laws to suit it. And this resulted in Directive 2006/24/EC. However, again, the DRI believes that this directive was adopted not in accordance with European law, and actually this view is shared by the current Minister for Justice in this country, Michael McDowell. Now he's currently bringing a case to the European Court of Justice to fight this and maybe hopefully overturn it, but the thing is he might decide at some stage they can't be bothered, or for some reason or other, or maybe it's just politically dangerous. It might, harm the government's chances of getting re-elected, because this is coming up pretty soon anyway, in the next couple of months. Pretty much the election has kind of started in this country already, almost. So, what is going to happen is, it's quite possible that the government in this country might not fight this new directive, which is unconstitutional. So the thing is that the DRI believes that obviously this should be fought. So what they've done is, they have made the request that pretty much all these laws should be overturned, and if they aren't overturned, then they're going to challenge them in the courts, because someone has to stand up to these laws. People, essentially your data is being collected and stored and being viewed by God knows who, and there is no legal basis for them to do this. Absolutely none. They're just abusing power, and unless this is challenged, it's going to continue. And as we've seen before, rather than actually roll back something they shouldn't have been doing, they've actually given out more powers. So this has to be stopped, because it's only one small stepping stone. If they can get away with this, they can get away with a lot more.
The thing is, you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist to realise that governments, as organisations, they adopt as much power as they can get. It's the same with companies, and it's often, unfortunately, the same with individuals. It's human nature to take as much power as you can get, and sometimes, as in the case of new technologies, where the population isn't educated and isn't animated and angry enough, these things really get unbalanced, and that's what's happening at the moment. So Digital Rights Ireland are trying to repair the balance of power, the power of your own ownership of your information, and nothing is more important, because your information, your communication is how you interact with the world, and it's the most important and most private part of your existence, and this is the exact sort of thing which is being tracked and saved and potentially mined in the future by your government. So hop aboard that campaign and support it if you can. Again, write to your TDs, get in contact with Digital Ireland, check out the Digital Rights Ireland website, and they will have instructions about exactly what you can do to help out with this campaign. So let people know.
Certainly, yes, exactly. Definitely talk to your TDs, definitely write to them, because election time is coming up. Their TDs worrying about their seats, so if your vote is balanced on where they come down on this issue, then certainly they are going to listen to you. They're definitely going to be listening to their constituents. So if you get people involved and educate people about this, and it becomes an important issue for the election, then certainly change will come, because they'll just be like, well, we want to get back in power, we better stop doing the illegal stuff. Just for a while anyway.
Okay, moving on.
Right, quickly moving on. Tuppensworth has reviewed the legalities of various video sharing sites. So Simon McGarr on Tuppensworth has written an article, and he's looked at a few of the terms and conditions of various video content sites such as YouTube, Google Video, etc. And he's had a fairly close look at them and looked at their terms and conditions and pointed out some of the things that are good, bad, or different in them. So, who are the good guys? The good guys are Video Egg, and it's just solitary, just one good guy, which is Video Egg, which essentially just in their license and their terms and conditions, essentially all they ask is for those rights necessary to essentially host and show your videos. So they don't try and grab anything extra which you don't want them. And the great thing is, as soon as you remove your content from their website, they no longer have any rights to it. So you retain pretty much full control over your content, except those controls necessary for them to show it and people can look at it online, which is pretty good. Like, you still have things, you can grab it any time and it's gone, it's still yours.
The scary thing is, though, unfortunately, there's a lot of scandal recently with YouTube, people thinking that YouTube have too many rights over your videos, but YouTube aren't the only ones.
No. And there are worse than YouTube. Can you believe it? Okay, although they are one of the villains in our piece, and certainly from Mr. McGarrett's article you can see they are. Okay, worse than YouTube are Grouper and Motionbox, which have, when you essentially upload your video and you go, yes, I agree to the terms and conditions, what you're giving them is a irrevocable and perpetual license to do whatever they want with your video. Now, think about that. Irrevocable and perpetual, that's already a danger sign, because that means they have it forever and you can't get it back. Forever bad. So it's like really bad. And essentially, those two grab, you might as well like give it over to them. You no longer own it. Pretty much they can do anything and everything they want. They have it for perpetuity. They can sub-license it in as many different ways they want. They can modify it, reformat it, sell it. Pretty much, and they don't owe you a damn thing. They don't
put your head on the dancing girl.
Yeah, exactly. Why not just sell them your soul and get it over and done with? You know.
So don't use these services.
Don't use them. Don't use them.
Use VideoEgg. Do you know VideoEgg have an upload limit? I have no idea.
I'm not sure. I haven't used it much, but certainly, if you've any option at all, definitely
host stuff yourself if you
yeah.
can. If you produce your own content,
it's the only way to retain.
It's the only way to
Full
retain
control.
proper control. Uploading stuff to YouTube is useful for promotion, but don't expect to own it after you do. We occasionally upload videos to YouTube, and from now on I think we'll be sticking to Google Video.
Yeah. Now, certainly Google Video isn't as bad as YouTube, Grouper or Motionbox. Although there are some kind of slight problems with this, one of them being that they have the right to modify and reformat the content you upload. So those things are kind of a little bit vaguely defined, shall we say. So what is reformatting? Is it just changing it from, say, MPEG or whatever like that to XVID or something like this, or is it actually changing with the account reformatting, changing it to being electronic, stored online, to actually being on a DVD or a CD, which they can maybe sell? So there's the big question of like, what is reformatting? It's not defined, so you could worry about that depending again. So, and also you have Blip.tv, which again they want the right to distribute media other than electronically, but again you have to ask why, because really you only upload to these sites so that things can be distributed electronically. If you wanted to be handed out in DVDs, wouldn't you burn it yourself? Pretty much, wouldn't you burn it yourself and hand it out or whatever if you wanted to do it that way? So I mean, it doesn't really seem to make sense. Plus it mentions affiliated sites, which again is not defined. So really, I think what this article really shows is like that people don't look at the terms and conditions, and when you actually look at them closely, you find some quite scandalous things inside them. When you look at certain clauses, alright, it's going to be legalese and it's going to be quite boring, but you should really take the time, if you're going to be handing over something that maybe you've invested a lot of time and effort, and this is something that maybe is really important to you, and to just hand over control of it by just not reading some terms and conditions, it's not the smartest decision that you'll ever make.
It's an easy mistake to make.
But it is a very easy one to make, because you do it every day. You sign up for various things, from email accounts to news sites to everything. They all have terms and conditions, and we're pretty much all used to jumping past them, jumping to the end and clicking, yeah, I've read and I understand, like a robot. But for something really important like this, where it is something you own and something you've created, you should really be much more careful, as like this really has illustrated that a lot of these sites out there are pretty much out there to screw you, and they will screw you if you're not careful, and it won't be pleasant and you won't get a cigarette at the end.
You will get an STD.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. This is a story. This is a very serious show. I don't like it.
Serious.
God damn it. I feel like a chick on a date with an accountant. It's going to walk out. Okay.
Oh no, we've offended accountants.
Okay. Oh, they can fuck off here again. You watch this. You can go home and masturbate to your expensive porn, you boring bastard. Okay, so this is about a company called Semco, run by Ricardo Semler, and it's a Brazilian company which has a very unusual company culture because employees choose their bosses, choose their salaries, choose their working hours, choose where they work, and hire themselves, apparently. How this all works is a mystery to me, but a company has turned traditional company culture on its head, so it's more of almost a collective or a cooperative. Many questions arise as to how they avoid nepotism, communism, and other isms.
Isms. Horrible isms.
But it seems like a cool idea. I think this is the way to go. So, social networking as a company management strategy, the wisdom of crowds rather than top-down management. And I'm sure the top talent rise to the top in any organisation. And it's good in that they've retained a leadership structure, but it's become more democratic. So it's really, really innovative, and the companies seem to be doing it astonishingly well. You can check out their website, semco.locaweb.gov. Just follow the link. It's ridiculous. But yes. That's good to see. Good to see companies which are run in unusual ways. When I have a massive multinational company which is worth trillions of dollars and I'm king of the universe, I'll run it this way.
Definitely. You'll still be on top, of course.
Well, everyone will decide that I should be on top.
That you are the best, yes, of course.
Okay.
I'd vote for you.
Of course you would. Meebo, the fantastic site which integrates lots of instant messengers together in a web page format, so you can talk on Yahoo Chat, MSN, Jabber, Google Talk, etc. They have released a new service. It is a widget for WordPress, blogs and other services which lets you essentially talk to your readers. So you can hook this into your Meebo account, set up a widget, put it into your blog, and anytime you're logged into Meebo, chatting away, someone goes onto your site, they appear in your friend list, your buddy list, and you can talk to them. You can ban them too and kick them off also. But if you like to, you can talk to your users. Now it's limited. You can't spread the back end out over several people at the moment. So you can't use this for user support or anything like that. But it's pretty neat too, especially if you run a small blog. You can sit online and your readers can see that you're online. They can comment on your content directly to you, anonymously and abusively, if they wish. It's pretty. I think it's pretty cool.
I think it's definitely very, very cool, and certainly allows suddenly one-on-one contact with the people who are actually reading and looking at your website right now. So you can actually go, what do you think of this, or what do you think of that, or people can actually talk to you and tell you your website rocks.
So it's got some advantages over stuff like Gably that we saw before. Because they're speaking directly to you, you don't get the problem of a few people chatting on your site. Some weirdo comes on, freaks them all out, and you'll have to leave. And there's no permanent saved visible history on the site, so there's no danger of advertising spam or anything like that. Lots of things like this that are good. There's some problems with it. It doesn't update the messages back and forth as quickly as you might like, but it's only just been launched and it's in beta at the moment.
And yeah, from the Meebo blog, which I looked at today, apparently is quite a challenging problem to actually get it to work in the first place at all. So
it's pretty amazing.
It's pretty amazing that they got it working in the first place, and certainly it's going to improve over time. And I think definitely have a website or a blog. I think you should drop it into it. Give it a go.
And I believe it uses the Jabber protocol. So while Meebo are hosting the back end of it, if you want, you don't have to use Meebo. You can use Game or any of the other Jabber compatible clients and use whatever IAM package you like and hook into this as long as it's Jabber compatible. So it's pretty neat, and it's an interesting thing that Meebo seem to becoming the umbrella for all the chat sites. Why would you use anything else, really, to be honest? And interesting enough, if you're emo or suicidal and have a live journal, I recently discovered you can hook into LiveJournal. If you put in your name at livejournal.com in a Jabber account in Meebo, put in your LiveJournal password, immediately all your LiveJournal friends will pop up as buddies. If they do the same thing, you can all, using your existing anonymity and, my life is a friendless void nicknames, you can X, my life is a friendless void, X. You can chat to each other, which is really neat. I mean, I did it, but oh yeah, I have a live journal, yeah. But nobody was chatting to me because my life is a friendless void, which is a downside. At least my life's not a sexless void. Okay.
Oh. 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 I do not feel the burn. Right then, next story. regards the corporate sponsorship of schools. So, cash-strapped schools are now selling the naming rights to buildings, rooms, and even the principal's office to corporations.
Principal Pepsi!
Exactly. Please come to the Pepsi office, please. Pepsi office, please. Oh my god, I have to go to the Pepsi office! Can you imagine the scarred children going,
Oh my god.
They go into the shop and they go, Pepsi!
There's a school for scarred children? Oh my god. I'm not sending my kids there. I have to sit beside Scary McScarson.
Scary Max Scarrison.
Scar boy.
So he's already scarred and then they call him Scary Max Scarrison. Hi, my son is scarred. I'd like to change his name by default to Scary Max Scarrison.
You have to change your name to whatever you are. I'm Geek McIrish, dude.
Really, I was wondering why you were down the courthouse.
Yeah. Well, that was a whole different issue. They found some pictures in my email.
Oh dear, let's not go there.
Like the one behind us. She's only 12, Your Honour. I mean, 24.
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah. Getting confused with numbers. Quick, get the accountants. They're all watching. Quick, accountants, come in. Come in, fix this.
They're watching porn on YouTube. They're not watching this.
Anyways.
Okay.
Back to the story. Okay, for a one-time payment of possibly up to $500,000, you can get any number of things named after you or your company. So, yeah, I presume individuals can do the same thing if you have enough money. People have been doing it for ages anyway. So, Washington DC actually considered selling the naming rights to subway stations. So you can go to, I don't know, McDonald's station.
Oh no, you can go to the subway station. Those fuckers already have their name on every subway station. They don't have to pay.
Yeah, and then you have Las Vegas were going to sell the rights to its monorail. And worse, this one's brilliant. I love the story. Clark in Texas actually had a vote. Their council voted to change the name of the town to Dish. The company called Dish Network wanted to give them money for doing so, and actually everyone in the town they got 10 years free satellite TV. So you changed your name and you're now from Dish.
Wait, so
The loser!
If I change my name to Suicide Girls, will I get a blowjob every week for the rest of my life?
That'd be great.
I don't care, you can call me Suicide Girls, it's fine, it's worth it.
That'd be great. Obviously corporations are doing this maybe in some ways for advertising, in other ways for just embedding their name in your subconsciousness by being there all the time.
We've already seen, if you've read Naomi Klein's frightening book No Logo, we've seen stuff like corporations sponsoring science class. So you'd have a project in science class to build a Nike shoe or make an M&M, like fucked up shit like this.
Build a Nike. What did they turn up the heat and everything?
They have a full giant shoe press and
break out the weights.
Ah, this is true. Yeah, they bring in a lot of Indian kids and they start sewing really quickly. This is how it goes, guys. Build a Nike shoe. Build. Outsource. So this is horrible shit. This is basically what's happening to education in America. There's no budget. They're spending too much, even though they're spending less than any other mainstream Western country per head of population. But they believe they're spending too much because they've been told and indoctrinated about it for years and years. And so, of course, what's happening? They're being forced to turn to commerce. Eventually, you'll have companies which set the curriculum for a certain amount of money too. They get up in the morning and read your Pepsi Cola book starring a character whose face is a Pepsi bottle.
Yes.
His adventures pouring into the midst of children.
How Pepsi won the war.
Yeah. Oh my god, the American Civil War, starring Pepsi, bottle of Pepsi leaping
charging into the fray.
on a giant Pepsi steed. And strangely enough, Confederacy is replaced with the Coca-Cola seed. So similar. I don't know why we're picking on Pepsi. It tastes like piss, possibly that's the reason. If you gotta drink it, drink Coke, in fairness. What are you, gay? Not there's anything wrong with that.
No, it is wrong to drink Pepsi.
I'm not homophobic, I'm Pepsi-phobic.
Yes, Pepsi-phobic. Indeed.
Moving on.
Well, look, there's the raging mob. I can hear them now. Starting. Can you hear them?
I can't hear them.
Background. Anyway, next story regards the death knell for social networks and chat rooms in the US. So, the House of Representatives has essentially passed a bill, the Deleting Online Predators Act. Actually, how are they going to delete online predators? Because really all it... How can you hit the delete button? Go away, predators!
Right click.
Right-click, hit online predators, and loads of paedophiles across the nation go, "Ooh, that hurt!" Anyways, what this bill essentially aims to do is it's going to block social networking sites and chat rooms from being available in any schools or libraries, or else those institutions will lose their federal internet subsidies. So essentially, if you allow minors, or essentially children, I don't know, it's probably break-off age is like 18, to go on these websites in the library
It's
or
so
school.
discriminatory. Just because they dig for coal, they can't look at fucking porn.
Yeah, exactly. Just because... Oh no, it's social porn websites. They can go to ordinary porn websites, because that's not social at all. Anyways, the thing is, if you're a minor, you won't be able to go on any social networking sites or chat rooms while you're at school or in a library. And one representative, Texas Republican Ted Poe, said that social networking sites such as MySpace and chat rooms have allowed sexual predators to sneak into homes and solicit kids. Oh no. So it's like, so chat rooms and social networking sites are actually seen as the root cause of all this, rather than, you know, people being...
I can think of a better way.
Going after children.
If they don't teach the kids to read, they won't be able to type on the social
There you go.
networking site.
Solution. There one. Yeah, exactly, because they won't go to school then or to the library anyway.
or if we burn out their eyes with hot pokers, they won't be able to see the screen.
Yeah.
And they won't be able to send attractive pictures to the predators.
Plus, this actually doesn't do anything to stop, you know, kids from actually accessing these sites when they're at home, or anyway educate them to the dangers out there.
I love how they call these people predators, because it's like they can
Predators.
cloak themselves and fire from their shoulder cannon at kids and catch them in a net. And shit.
Yeah, exactly. And plus, essentially, it's just it's a result of the moral panic that's been happening around this whole issue. And frankly, kids are at more danger. Generally, anyone who we found, like, pretty much, it's known that if someone is abused in that way, more than likely it's someone they actually know. So it's not some stranger who came from 100 miles away that found them on the internet.
It's their uncle, it's their dad, it's their next door neighbour.
It's quite sad. It's a horrible thing.
With me, it was all three.
Yeah. You were such a pretty child.
It was cute.
Anyways. Yes, he was so innocent.
I had such soft lips as well. I mean, they like that.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Moving swiftly on.
Yes.
Now, okay, vague law. It purports to. It's going to block any site which allows people to post profiles.
It's already been passed.
Yeah. Well, no, it has to go to the Senate yet.
Passed by the House of Representatives, though.
Yeah, it's passed by the House of Representatives, so it still has to go to the Senate. So advocacy groups have very little time to actually. They didn't believe it was going to pass through the House of Representatives so quick, so they're caught on the hop. So now they're racing to actually try and build up a campaign to stop it in the Senate.
But this would stop any site with social features, so like Netscape.com, Dig.com, Microsoft.com.
Anything that allows you to post have a profile which can include any personal information,
So
or
it's
allow
any
communication among people.
So
So
it's any site that you can log into, basically.
pretty much anything, like everything from Amazon to you know, /news, anything pretty much.
Technically it would ban Yahoo email too, because when you create a profile on Yahoo email, it creates a profile.
Actually, yeah, you have to name, address, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's plus pretty much all chat rooms. Chat rooms are very vaguely defined as well. So it's extremely vague. So I think, you know, it's going to pretty much ban children from joining anything. I think that's pretty much it. You're not allowed to join anything. But it totally omits from like stopping them doing it at home.
Where are we going to get our hot American kids if you ban them from this shit? You know, it's hard enough already.
No, they're going to be at home, which is better because they'll have the webcams and they'll be able to stream.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I think the stupid thing about this is actually like somehow implying social networking sites or chat rooms are actually inherently dangerous, because that's what it seems to be doing.
They're inherently sexy. That's what they are.
Yes, dead sexy.
Okay, moving on. We this week are lucky enough to have a special report linked in our enclosures. We'll make a post about it too. Drew from the file sharing coverage news site slick.com has done a special report on the goods of file sharing. Slick. Nice. I like it. This is exactly what is right with file sharing. We hear declaimed and decried at us so often in the media. The evils of file sharing and copyright infringement and piracy. And Crew has done an extremely well researched and well argued piece on exactly why that's a lot of cock bollock. And those of us who've been following the file sharing debate for the past few years since the launch of Napster and the great debacle that ensued with wonderful rock band Metallica and other idiots like the Chorus opposing ways of distributing and popularising their music.
Yeah, because everyone is sharing the Chorus music.
And I wish people would stop. That's one band. I want them taken off every file sharing network. I want anyone who downloads them sued. About €1 million each.
Definitely. Shot, I think.
Shot at close range.
Shot. Repeatedly.
I don't want an open coffin at that funeral. In the face. So Drew's explaining this. So check it out, listen to it, and send it to your friends. If your parents are ardent...
If they allow you on the internet.
If they allow you on the internet at all. If they're ardent opponents of file sharing, give them this, explain to them. You'll still get sued. But... our next story will explain what to do in that story. If you are sued by the RIA, apparently a new defence is working out. A couple of test cases have tried this out, and it seems that if you make the point that an IP address is not a person, and your computer is multiple user, and even better, your Wi-Fi network is open, then they cannot prove that you did particularly and individually download whatever you're supposed to have downloaded, pirate whatever you're supposed to have pirated. You can use this defence to avoid being sued. So, if you are in any kind of litigation danger, you receive a cease and desist letter from the RIA or the MPA, attempt this defence, chances are they don't want you to be the test case. They don't have an ironclad enough evidence that it's you unless they're filming through your window while you were downloading and recording you shouting, "Ha ha ha, I'm a pirate, I swear today's date is..."
And while hopping around on your peg leg with the parrot.
Yeah, basically. So, this could be a defence, and hopefully when a similar case comes to trial in Ireland, this defence will be used and the entire stack of House of Fear cards, that's a terrible allegory, mixed metaphor, will collapse, and finally we can have some sanity and rationality in this issue, which you haven't seen from IMRA or any of the other representative bodies either in Ireland or abroad.
Yes, I think
Okay.
actually one thing that reminded me of leaving a port open for Wi-Fi, we covered quite a while back of this service where you could essentially share Wi-Fi and you sign up for it. I forget what that is. No? Can't remember. It's You just make a face.
I have no fucking clue, dude.
Anyway.
Why do you bring up shit that we can't remember? This is bad. Okay, on to our media pimps. This show's probably about 7 hours long and it was a very dry show, like a Chardonnay. Okay, we should pimp. Number 1, a road trip. We're going to be visiting you in America. If you are an American viewer of Technolotics, you could get to touch, feel and probe us with your fingers. We will be over in the United States during the month of September.
Yes, you may now touch us.
If you would like to provide us with somewhere to stay, or recommend somewhere to stay, even better, we're going to have a live Yahoo beta maps page up with everywhere we'll be visiting. You can make your own, send us the links, recommend locations, or even beg us to stay with you. And you never know, Francis might even sleep with you for the pleasure of me sleeping somewhere else. Okay.
Yes, exactly. I'll sleep with you so he goes away.
Yeah, so I can use your bed and you two can sleep in the car. My other pimps this week, IPTV boards have been kind enough to give us a forum. If you would like to comment and have a big discussion about the oldie Technolotics, go to IPTV boards and you can talk about...
days.
Bring back Jason!
Bring back Jason. The campaign starts here.
Save Jason, save Jason! James only watches the show anymore. You can also discuss Dignation, various other things. Interesting site. Check it out. It's a place where you can discuss free ebooks in multiple formats. If you go to manybooks.net, you can find millions and zillions of ebooks to read in formats for your Palm, formats for your iPod, plain text, PDF, etc. Really, really nice Web 2.0 site if you're looking for something to read. And finally, this blew me away. Phosphor is a shockwave game, a multiplayer, online, first-person shoot-'em-up game, which runs in your browser. It's bloody amazing and you should check it out. That's it.
Sweet. Well, seeing as I was down in the bogs all week, didn't have the chance to go on the internet.
Tom Curry!
So, my Honey Pimp is the Street Performing World Championships, which are on in Marion Square in Dublin tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday this week. So get down there; it's going to be pretty darn cool.
We'll be there.
We'll be there. So you can look at us and maybe touch us.
You can walk by in the crowd like in
Rush past
Unbreakable. Feel us with your fingers and see into our minds. Okay. This has been episode 43 of Technolotics.
Super